Alright everyone, welcome back to another Pokemon X and Y video. This time we're going to be just rounding up the few Pokemon that were missed out in the Mega Evolution video because, well, frankly, the Mega Evolution thing was much more interesting than these kind of basic Pokemon that we have revealed here. But they're still worthy of mention and we should talk about them a little bit. So I'm going to cover them very quickly and just give you my thoughts on them and what we think they're going to be doing in X and Y. So without further ado, let's begin. So starting from left to right, we're going to begin with a very familiar looking Pokemon, a little goat. One might imagine that he is the pre-evolution of Go-Goat, and one would be correct. His name is Mikuru. That is of course the Japanese name. It is of course subject to change. However, just a quick note is that Go-Goat's name is actually the same in Japan, so there is a possibility that this could stick, though I find it slightly unlikely. It's probably going to be localized in some fashion. But yes, this is the first form of Go-Goat. I imagine that it's going to only be a kind of 2 evolution family, because I don't see there's anything like smaller than this going to be revealed, and I don't imagine that Go-Goat will transform into anything larger than it is already, especially when you take into account that Go-Goat is the one that you can ride around the city, and one would assume that a final evolution would be kind of necessary to ride around a city, and so that's what I'm thinking, just the 2 of them. But it is of course grass type, or partially grass type, at least I believe that's what Go-Goat is, and so Mikuru would follow suit because it's the pre-evolution. And that is pretty much all we know about it at the moment. Not a huge amount of information being divulged, of course, but certainly looks the part. Yeah, you know, from an aesthetic standpoint, I like it. I'm not really particularly drawn to it. It's not like, oh wow, I totally want to have one of those on my team, but it will eventually become a giant fucking goat, so of course I am going to have one. It's just a question of, you know, when will it evolve so I can get my super badass giant goat motherfucker. That's all I care about, I tell you what. I'm pretty sure you're not going to be able to ride this evolution because it's going to be rather small, and I guess your character just would be a bit too large. That wouldn't make sense. Hey, perhaps you could, like, ride it like a skateboard through the streets of Paris, right? Because it's based on France. I don't know. I'm going to shut up. Let's move on to the next guy. It's a bunny rabbit. Let's go. So this little guy goes by the name of Horubi, and he is a bunny rabbit. A very obvious and simple and not very adventurous Pokemon, I'll be honest. From a design perspective, I'm thinking, you know, they would just like, you know, we can't think of too many new ideas here. We just need to go with just animals that exist and are easy to draw, and we can make them look cute with big eyes and big floppy ears. Just do a bunny, alright? Just do bunny rabbit and a normal bunny rabbit. And that's how I feel the conversation at Game Freak HQ went with the design team. But yes, this is a normal type bunny rabbit. Very run-of-the-mill, really. It's not something to really get super excited about. I'm interested as to the final evolution as I am with everything, but for the moment it doesn't really jump off the page at me, if you know what I'm saying. 2 interesting things about this Pokemon. First of all, it's referred to as a digging Pokemon. Now, this is a little bit interesting because combined with the fact that it has kind of brownish coloring on its ears and around its neck and its feet, could suggest that it will potentially, in a later evolutionary stage, become a ground type, and we could also see a combination of the normal type with the ground type, something that we haven't seen before, and would again be interesting and pushing the boat out again on combining normal type with a lot of other types, which is, you know, as I've said, not all too common. So I think that would be a cool idea. Maybe it would lose the normal type and become a ground type, but I think it would be cooler if they kind of combined them together and went that route. Certainly never been done before, so that's cool. The second thing is its ability. Now it gets one ability that we know from previous generations, which is Pickup. A very standard ability for a Pokemon early in the game, and this thing's probably is going to be found early in the game, I expect on the first or second route or so, and it's probably going to be pretty common, so you'll probably be running across a lot of them. However, its second ability, which is also shared by the third Pokemon on this list, the one on the right, little mouse guy, who we'll get to in a second, is called Cheek Pouches. Now, it has not actually been indicated as to what this ability does. However, with a little bit of speculation, I did talk to a couple of people, and one of them, the guy who is sitting, Zycor, shout out to him, potentially suggested that it could mean they can carry multiple berries in their cheeks. And then I pushed the idea forward and said, oh, wait a second, what if it was more than that? What if it was not just multiple berries, but multiple items? Could this ability allow a Pokemon to carry 2 items as opposed to 1? Thus having, like, I don't know, 2 Chesto berries, or 2 cherry berries, or even 2 life orbs. That wouldn't make any sense, honestly. That does sound a bit stupid when I think about it. But I don't know. That's a bit of speculation, honestly. That's, of course, not confirmed in any way. That's just our mad thought process. Maybe it will be just restricted to berries. So you get to carry 2 berries instead of 1, and no other items are involved. Because thinking about it a bit more logically would suggest that that makes no fucking sense. 2 life orbs would be somewhat ridiculous. So there's that. I'm very interested to find out more about that ability, but until we of course know more, there's nothing more I can say. So without further ado, let's move on to the final Pokemon here, which is the little rat guy. Over the years, there have been many Pikachu-esque Pokemon out there, but none which really emulate its older brother Raichu, until today, ladies and gentlemen. This is the new Pokemon, Dedenne, however that's pronounced. I don't know, I'm obviously slaughtering all these Japanese names, so we'll roll with it. It has a striking resemblance to Raichu, but it's little, and it's fat. It's a little chubby Raichu, a very tiny little Pokemon, and appropriately, it is not only electric, but owing to its tininess and frailness and cuteness, it is also a fairy type. So it is yet another in the growing list, honestly, of fairy types we have right now. It's getting pretty ridiculous. You know, when they introduced Dark and Steel in 2nd Gen, there really weren't that many Pokemon taking advantage of those types. There just weren't that many of them around. But I think Game Freak has a different idea with this generation and with fairy type. I think they just want to make sure that there are lots of them all over the place, everywhere. So here's another one, Dedenne. It's really cool. It's cute and it's cuddly and it's fun and fuddly. I'm just rhyming now. It's not making any sense. It's referred to as the antenna Pokemon, which would also kind of fit with its look. And that's all we know. We also know it has cheek pouches as well, as I mentioned before. So it has the same abilities as Harubi. I think it has pickup and cheek pouches, though I have to double check on that, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. So this thing looks great. I'm not sure if it's going to be like Harubi and found early in the game. Perhaps a bit rarer, found a little bit later on. And hey, I don't know, man. I like it a lot. I do feel like this also kind of indicates that perhaps Pikachu / Raichu / Pichu will all be rebranded to fairy type as well. You know, it looks a lot like them. It's kind of in that family. And I feel like because they're all mono-electric, you got to have something new added. And Pikachu is going to be retrofitted with fairy type. It just kind of makes sense to me. So if that happens, well, hey, you can call me the foreseer of futures. And that'll be that. But there you go. That's pretty much everything I wanted to cover in this video. Just kind of a quick chat about these guys. Nothing too in detail. But I like all 3 of them. They're all cool and cute and cuddly and great. And, you know, if there was a plush of at least one of these out there eventually, I probably would buy one. Because I like those things. I do indeed. So there you have it. If you did enjoy this video, please feel free to leave a like rating on the video below and give me your comments. What do you think? Do you like these new Pokemon? What do you think the series is doing? How do you think it's going with X and Y so far? Are they doing things wrong? They're doing them right? All down below in the comments. So, I'll see you guys in the next video, whenever that happens to be. Until then, thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.